dragon piece.
I grew up here in Maysville, Kentucky, a little river town off the Ohio River, known historically for its trading port, its ironworks, its tobacco warehouses, and its bourbon. The town also has a rich history as a pivotal stop on the Underground Railroad. When we were in school, we would take tours of the museum and even go into part of the Underground Railroad. I often attribute these moments into why I developed empathy and perspective at a young age, something I would take with me into adulthood and my career, and something that would be extremely important as I came into my own queer identity. My earliest memories were living above the First Lady, the hair salon where my mom worked in the downtown area, spinning in the chairs in the salon until I was dizzy and giggly, overlooking the steeples lit up outside of my parents' bedroom window at night, which was really an extra living space they had used for their bedroom, walking down the dark alleyway beside the Russell Theater to get to the stairs to our apartment, being so young that walking down a dark alley at night didn't faze me a bit. Dipping my little hands in chilly Market Street fountain water, the smell of the limestone water and oxidation permeating the air with the trickling of the water splashing onto my face. As I got older, I have appreciated other things from my hometown, like quintessential films starring Maysville sweetheart Rosemary Clooney, who most may recognize as the leading lady in White Christmas, a film that shows in my household every holiday season. The marriage of flavors in a Maysevillian salad, and the juicy melt-in-your-mouth bites of a perfectly cooked steak at Caproni's on the river. The smell of charred oak barrels, and the taste of smoky caramel notes in Old Pogue bourbon. But most importantly, the idea that you may need to leave home to discover yourself, that you may need to leave home to truly become who you are, but you can come home again. And sometimes, home can surprise you.
A Mason County city has become the 10th in the state to pass a fairness ordinance. Louisville-based advocacy group The Fairness Campaign says Maysville passed the ordinance on Thursday. The ordinance will prohibit sexual orientation and gender identity discrimination for housing, employment, and other public accommodations.
Are we live right now?
We are live right now.
Oh my God.
My name is McClanahan. I will be 61 years old next week, and I'm from this beautiful small town called Maysville, Kentucky.
I was born and raised in Maysville. I was born in 1979. I'm the middle son of three boys. My parents were both farmers. Growing up here was not easy. Growing up here actually sucked. I'll just be honest with you.
I grew up both in the East End and what we call like up on the hill. So, my family, I grew up in my family on the East End, downtown Maysville. I grew up in Meadow Drive. So I grew up initially in a holler. Yeah. So Bull Creek, I think is what it's called. Bull Creek, it's the one out by where you can see DP&L, that road that takes you out that way. Yeah. I grew up there for many, many years.
I have lived in this area ever since I was born. My dad and I build race cars, which is something you probably wouldn't think of by looking at me. But my family has owned racetracks. We all race, every single one of us.
But this town, it's a great little town, but for gay people, I've had to fight to get the respect that I have in this town. I've climbed over bars after people. I've taken 6 cops getting me off somebody beating me outside the pub in the middle of the street because they threw the F word out there. And you can say whatever, but do not call me a faggot because that word pisses me off quicker than anything.
I've been gone for a while, like about 30 years, and COVID hit. And I had a hair salon in Lexington for 20 years, and I realized that my mom being here couldn't do it by herself, so I decided to come back home, and in the meantime wrestled with, gosh, do I want to stay here? Do I want to go back and fight all of this for the next year? So I decided to close my business and pack it up, and here I am, like it or not.
I live like right on the Lewis County line. I can be in Lewis County in less than 2 minutes. So, plus my family's racetrack is in Lewis County.
Well, and the smaller community, there's something to be said for it. Because I've lived in Lexington and some of the bigger cities. No, I'm good. I like the smaller cities. I like being able to walk down the street and know people. But the bigger cities, you have a whole different set of issues you have to deal with. And part of me has stayed in Maysville now for 18 years is because family's here, of course. I'm comfortable here. And I can always find jobs no matter what. I can always find something to do. Whereas in the bigger cities, it's hard. And I wouldn't leave my family for nothing.
There is a pecking order within your own community. Are you a lipstick lesbian? Are you a dyke? Are you
Growing up, that it was undeniable I was gay. Everybody knew. So when I came out, it was like, okay, what's next?
This town will not break you if you don't let it.
It's really just a full circle journey. I mean, being here the first part of your life and then being able to go out and explore and find out who you are and create who you are and cultivate who you are and realize that, I probably could have done that here. And I initially started doing that here. But again, it's a small town and I thought it was best to go away and discover yourself and and that's what I did.
I feel like my story is more so with the straight people of this community. They've really always been there to support me, even if they didn't necessarily accept everything that I was, they would still support me and have my back. I study engineering, which is a very male-dominated field. And around here, most of the factories and everything is more so kind of like, I don't want to say prejudice, but opinionated, I guess you could say. And even there, people still will bring me over. Do you want to learn how to do this? Do you want to see how this is done? They've always just been super nice.
I always fit in. I was the type of person, I had a seat at every single table. So I could adapt myself. I think being gay and being young, you spend so much time figuring yourself out that you get so lost in everybody else's journey because you're like, okay, I don't know what I am. I don't know who I am. So let me try to be all of these people and find what works. So, it was like I was a choir nerd. I was in high school and stuff I was in 5th grade. I was in gifted and talented music. I've always been musical my entire life. And so growing up, that was my life, was music. I sang this every event for the VFW and stuff. I sang Star Spangled Banner, all that good stuff all the time. So, I spent a lot of my youth around people. I was always around people, always center of attention. I was in pageants growing up. I think I have 105 titles to my name, from baby pageants and stuff like that. And my grandma did that.
I started transitioning in the hair salon. Of course, the shorts got shorter. And I started seeing a doctor in Akron, Ohio. And it was an article in the Maysville paper. Who would have known? And it was Dr. Donald First and his son Stephen First. And the father was doing the surgery and the son was doing the therapy. And a girl that I worked with, we were like, you got to go to Akron with me. And so she did. And the funny thing is that when we got there and signed in, they thought she was the one transitioning. They thought I was already a girl. So, that was complimentary, I guess.
Looking back now, I'm thankful for my childhood. It was a rough one. And now I've got these little youngins, as I call them, all the younger generation I try to mentor and take care of and give them a different outlook on what they're viewing, because it's not that bad, I promise. You just got to give it time and stay strong. Stay strong is the main thing. And when you feel the need, give them the finger and throw something at them and run.
I look very feminine, but on the inside, I'm much more masculine. I'd rather get in the oil and go outside and go fishing and all that fun stuff. It's just, I guess my family, we're their country, and that's kind of just the stuff I was brought up around. So even though I'm very feminine, I was brought up in a masculine environment. So it kind of made me very unique.
I drove to Akron every Monday. I saved every penny and, went to Akron and sometimes would drive home in the middle of the night because I would have my therapy session at the end of the day, and then he would have a group meeting with other people, and that was interesting. But, prior to that, I'd been in the drag world in Lexington. I performed at the bar. I did stuff. So, I'd already had that taste of it away from here. But that was what kind of elevated me, I guess.
It's deep in Lewis County. I've pretty much always been in Lewis County. But I did go to Mason County, which I'm thankful for. I feel like Mason County schools, the people and everything is much more relaxed on the gay thing than Lewis County would have been. They're more backwoods about it.
Just being Women's Crisis Center wasn't as inclusive as we wanted to be. We want everyone to know that we serve men, women, we help children of any background, and we just wanted to change our name to show that. Of course, the ION Center, ION isn't everything we do. Collaboration, inclusion, so that was a good name for us, and it's a good name change to be more inclusive.
My high school years, I thought of suicide every day. I was bullied, spit on, hit on. Anything you could think of back then, name calling, all that, I had it. And I was determined that when I got out of school, there had to be a life outside of here. And when I discovered drag in gay communities, I was like, oh, it's out there. It's just not in Maysville. So I was on a mission to find it. And the first time I ever talked to another gay man, I was working in Mount Sterling, and one of the sales reps for the flower shop lived in Cincinnati. He's like, hey, come down. We'll party all weekend. I got fired on that Friday, so I took off. And discovered what a gay man was, other gay people. And then that Monday, he had to go to work, so I ended up going to Ashland with some of his friends, and that's when I discovered drag. And Maysville's come a long way from 1997, but it's still got a ways to go. A long ways to go. I know I'm Maysville proud and true, but this town still has some bad memories with it.
But I never really got bullied. I had one situation in high school where I got bullied. But, I went to the superintendent, and I always, I was friends with the superintendent. I was friends with everybody.
I know a lot of people around here go through some very difficult times. It's a small community, and it's a rural community. So not everybody is accepting of the gay community. I've never had to deal with any of that myself. As horrible as this is to say, the only people that have ever actually, I guess you could say, bullied me are the other gay people. So it's kind of backwards for me. They always wanted me to be more out about it. And they always felt the need to push and push and push to try to get me to do that. And it never worked because I'm somebody, I stand right on my own ground. Wherever I feel like I want to stand is where I stand.
Imagine being in the 60s and the 70s and just being who you are. I don't even know the word out because I was always so far out, I was in. You know what I mean? Because I just didn't know how else to be. I guess I tried to. I had no idea. I didn't have Google. I didn't have Facebook. I didn't have social media. I was in 6th grade going into 7th grade. And our neighbor across the street was doing a play down at the theater called Oliver, and she called my mom and said, hey, do you all want to be in this play? And so we were in rehearsal one night, and she was giving notes, and this woman walked in the back of the theater, and she was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. Blonde hair, big boobs. Everybody was running up to her. Now, as I said, I'm in 6th grade going in 7th grade. I don't even know what year that would be. And this guy next to me says to the other guy, he says, hey, do you know who that is? No. He said, that's so-and-so. She used to be a man. And I went, what? That beautiful, blonde, big boobed woman used to be a man? And he said, yeah, she had a sex change operation. Well, I mean, it's like all the bells and all the whistles went off in my life. And I got home. I went up to the room where my mom was, and I said, hey, did you see that blonde-headed girl at the theater tonight? She said, yes. I said, did she used to be a man? And she said, yes, she had a sex change operation. And I thought, well, my mom is never going to lie to me about something like that. And that was the moment. And I thought, I don't know if this is something I have to pray away. I don't know if this is something I need to go to the sewing box and get some scissors and start I didn't know what that meant. But I knew at that moment in 6th grade, even though I knew I was always a girl, I knew at that moment that I would be able to live my truth. And I think the happiest day of my life was the day that I did live the life that I was supposed to have lived, even though everybody around me was, guarded and apprehensive about it. But that was the day for me. And then, of course, as time goes on and, here's Phil Donahue with a transsexual, I think it was the tennis player that was a doctor or something, I can't even remember, but I remember seeing that, and I can remember my parents being nervous when we were watching it because they knew all the time. I mean, they sent me to therapy probably that summer.
When I was growing up, I wanted so bad to be that girl, that blonde cheerleader. There was this girl in school, her name was Mariah. And she was this beautiful blonde-headed cheerleader, and she had beautiful golden skin, and she dated the high school quarterback, I think. And, that was my vision of perfection and what I wanted. Like, that's what I have to be. That's what I need to be a girl. To be, I want to be drop dead gorgeous, because she is still to this day. She's beautiful, and she probably doesn't even remember me, but she spoke to me from time to time. But it, I studied these girls, and I studied their journeys, and and I was the gay boy, so I a lot of times held them while they cried, and I listened to their problems.
I don't really have any issues here. Everybody's real nice. Everybody's always been real accepting and polite. A lot of people know my family, which definitely has a lot to do with it, I'm sure.
All these people that I've influenced in some way or another, they make me so proud every day. Every day they make me proud, because there's several of my drag children that are no longer here for different reasons. And some part of me, my heart is hardened some to the new generation, because they don't know like what my generation has went through to pave the way for some of them, and several of the younger generation don't give two craps. And I'm sorry, I'm crying.
Oh, no, you're good. I'm sorry, I don't have a tissue.
But it really bothers me, and I'm trying to get to the point now to where it doesn't hurt me so much, because I can't help the fact they don't know what we went through.
Coming back and being who I am shouldn't have been any surprise to anybody who knew me. And I just kind of had a, kind of screw it attitude. I am who I am, and I've always been who I am, and you can like me or not. And you know what I mean? It's just one of those things where I've always been able to just kind of land on my feet and find my little niche, and I don't hate it, surprisingly.
The journey that, that I took was, I wouldn't replace it for anything. And I wouldn't replace being gay, being transgender, being, you know, the person that I am. I wouldn't trade it for $1 million, but I also wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
It's one of the things that just baffled me when I came to town and there was a drag show. I was like, in Maysville.
Well, that's the reason when they told me you were doing video that night, I was like, why is she doing video? Did she know we did these? And Nichelle was like, no. I was like, really? Who is this person? So it intrigued me even who you were. I was like, I thought everybody knew we did them. But then there's a lot of people that don't know. That's the reason the attendance is so big, is because people that have never been or didn't know they exist, they want to go. So they show up and then they're hooked. They love it. And a lot of these people, like, we went to school with them, myself personally, went to school with them, they never knew. And then to see me from this into this woman, they're like, that's Adam. Or Art Geek Adam. Because I was an art geek in school. And the fact that, you know, now here I am, comfortable as a boy and a girl, because used to be I had to live my life in drag. You never saw me as a boy. You would have never seen this 5 years ago, this beard. No. It just amazes people. And I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah, I think everybody should come out to something like this. Gay, straight, it doesn't matter. The whole world needs to spend less time hating people and come out and have a good time.
Hey, I'm filming something right now. So look, as you can see, yes, give it up for Miss Rita, Dela, Novah. Rita, would you like to come say hi to the people?
Village, and we love all y'all because we grew up with y'all, and y'all seen us grow from little badass children to beautiful little trannies now today. But most of all, the people that actually value us in this town mean a lot to us. Nobody's attention, yeah, we just wanna dance on our own.
It is my baby girl. Give it up for the one and only Miss Aria Armani.
Don't need nobody's attention, don't need nobody else in our zone.
So in 2010, she won Miss Gay United States. 2017, 18, she won Miss All-American Goddess at Large. And then in 2021, was it one? No, she didn't 21. Girl, 17 was Westland. In 2017, she was Miss Westland Grand Empress. And in 2018, she was All-American Goddess at Large. So that means she's a 3-time national title holder. She is incredible. She is beautiful. She's currently Miss Daytona. And she is currently Miss Daytona Beach Continental.
And she looking like a man.
And no, she's not. Well,
She
almost got me to say she looked like a man.
She almost said it.
Bringing to the stage one of my best Judies that I've ever found. The beautiful Miss Adriana Fuentes.
I couldn't hate you if I wanted to.
Rita's just hating.
Y'all make some noise!
Let's sing along to every song. We don't need nobody's attention, don't need nobody else in our
There's a drag queen that lives here. To my knowledge, she's like fully retired, but every now and again she'll make an appearance, and I hope that I can get her out soon. Her name is Vivian Von Ray. A lot of people know the boy part, Adam Rankin. And so I was 16 and I was selling bingo tickets at the VFW, or no, I was at the bingo hall in Washington that they used to have. And I just, I was still so confused at that age, because I knew that I liked boys, and I knew that not even that, I knew I was different. So I was walking around, or I started selling bingo tickets because I always sold bingo tickets to pay for every school trip that I had. So I was walking around I came to this bingo hall, I was starting to sell tickets, and there was this 6'4", I think. Oh my God, because I'm 5'5", and this monstrous gay man just flaunting around and just so full of life and full of himself. And I was like instantly obsessed. So I slowly but surely, I was like, what's tea? So, which is like, what's up? Yeah. And it was like an instant hit off, and I was just obsessed with this person. And as we started talking and building a relationship, literally every Wednesday, I think it was, I would sell tickets there. And as time went on, and I was like, and he was like, let me show you something.
I've done several pageants. I've had 38 crowns. I've traveled to 17 different states, 42 different counties. I've got 12 drag children under me, 13. So, yeah, it's been an interesting career. Seen a lot of places, met a lot of interesting people, had a lot of good times, shared a lot of good laughs. So it's been fun.
Maysville, please welcome to the stage, Miss Vivian Von Ray.
I first came back home, which has been 18 years now. I mean, there was no drag. There was nothing. And I was like, this is sad, because then there was Nichelle, and there was Troy, and then David Michael came along, and there's been several others that I've helped. I was like, this is dumb. We need to put together something. They're like, well, if you'll do it, we'll do it. I was like, okay. So 3 months later, I had the first show in Maysville at the old Vermont Inn Lounge in the ballroom. We had it set up for 300 people. There was over 600 people to the door by the time I was over with. I've done drag in Lexington, Louisville, Cincinnati, Huntington, Ashland, Charleston, Parkersburg, Tennessee, Florida, several other states and different towns. I thought, why not this town needs something? And I kind of did it just to stir it up a little bit around here, because I had the experience, the crowns, all that stuff to do with it. I just needed the people behind me to help me make it happen. And once we did, this town went nuts. When's the next one? I was like, y'all gotta wait a minute. I got things I gotta do.
Watch it. Watch it.
How my hair look?
Watch it.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, give it up for the beautiful Miss Apara Lashes.
I'm gonna be like, yeah, baby. What's your hair on?
Adriana.
Yes. Where's she at?
Oh, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, next to the stage, she is your host and MC here at the Barrel House in Maysville, Kentucky, and she is your reigning Miss Gay, United States, Ohio at large. Please give it up for Miss Nichelle Kartier.
Obviously my mother was involved in every step, and, but I literally was pushing so hard for this because I was 13, living in a trailer in Flemingsburg, and I had a dollar store or a Walmart wig, black wig, and I would sneak in the bathroom, lock it, and I stole my mom's makeup. Well, she never wore makeup, so she just had it in a drawer, and I'm like, can I have this? And she's like, of course, whatever. So I would put makeup on, and I still have these pictures to this day somewhere. I looked atrocious, and I would spend all this time in the mirror. And so the time finally came, and Adam was like, girl, we got a show. So it was booked at the Days Inn.
Here in town?
Yeah, here in town by McDonald's. I think it was the Days Inn at the time. I don't know what it is now. The Ramada. No, it was called the Ramada Inn. And he said, we're going to do this. I said, oh my God, I'm nervous. So my grandma ordered me 2 wigs from this company. It was like a catalog book called Midnight Velvet. And she ordered me 2 of these big, beautiful curly wigs. And we went to a little dress shop up in Flemingsburg. My mom took me. And we went to this little dress shop up there, and I got my first dress. Well, it wouldn't fit me, but they were going out of business. I forget the name of the company, but it was going out of business. So they looked at me so funny, but I guess they knew Adam or something. So he told me to go there.
Nichelle, I put her in drag when she was maybe 15. Scared to death, didn't know what I was doing. Was really scared the following Monday when I ran into her father at Bob Evans. He said, I'm going to talk with you. I was like, wow, what happened?
I tried to put this dress on me and it would not fit. It was going up, but it just needed something. So she hand sewed a zipper into this thing, an industrial size zipper, so it wouldn't pop. I still have the dress to this day. And so she sewed this big old heavy zipper in this thing. And, it was just, I felt like a goddess, and I looked atrocious the first drag show. But I just remember the experience and being back in the dressing room and, the impact that this woman had, this Vivian, her name's Vivian Von Ray, and the impact that this person had on me at such a young age, it made me feel like I could conquer the entire world, that I could have anything I wanted. Because, I went over to his house one day, and at this time, I was 16, but I was driving, and, my parents always knew where I was. So there was nothing ever funny about it, but it was just like, that's my mom. That's my gay mentor. So, but I went over to this amazing woman's house, and I went into the drag room, which was a second bedroom, and there was just jewelry, big pieces of jewelry that were custom made, and gowns everywhere. And there was a costume made out of a shower curtain. Had this costume made out of a shower curtain, and this and that and the fourth, and wigs just everywhere. I was in heaven. I'm like, I will become this.
For years before I started doing the shows here on Halloween, it was tradition. I always showed up and came out and drag. One year I was a Las Vegas showgirls. I had feathers here, and in the back, and that was it. The next year I was Morticia Adams, long black wig. And people grew to expect it. So that kind of broke the ice for people in Maysville seeing a drag queen. But then as years went on, I discovered that a lot of these people in this town, when I lived in Lexington, I would see them at the late night gay bars. Because in Lexington, when all the other bars would close down, everybody from the gay bars, straight bars, stripper bars, all of them would merge on this one bar called Club 141. It stayed open till 4 a.m. Everybody partied. So people had an urge to see drag. They just didn't want to see it here. So when I brought it here, it made it easier. And a lot of the guys in town that would have pushed back were friends with both my brothers, my cousins. There's 13 grandchildren on one side of the family, 19 on the other. So somehow or another, everybody knows who Adam is. And Adam's always been kind of out since I left. So the fact that I did it was a step in the right direction. But then when we did it, like the hotel we had, the manager at the time was a good friend. She gave us the banquet rooms for free. They could sell liquor. They got all the money off of that. And the entertainers knew they did it for free. Whatever you make, you make. If you don't, you don't. Sorry. And the first show, it was awesome. I even made centerpieces for all the tables with candles. We really did it up. And I knew a DJ. And it was like a dinner theater experience. We had production numbers. There was single. Each entertainer got to do 4 numbers each. There was 2 group numbers. It was great. And people loved it.
In a too tight leotard, but bitch at least it's rhinestone. Bitch! Twinkle, bitch! Alright, so we're ready to give you an incredible show.
I'm Mike Sapp, and this is my wife Hope, and we're the owners of the Barrel House in Maysville.
We're just parents, grandparents, raising 2 of our own newbies again. So, we're friends. That's good. It's a good thing.
Are y'all ready for another entertainment? Make some noise! Alright, bring it to the stage. Give it up for your hostess and MC. Give it up for me, Nichelle Kartier!
for this show alone, I probably spent about $750 on costumes. You know, I wear for tonight. Yeah. I have a brand new wardrobe for tonight. Nothing that anybody here has ever seen. Well, one number I'm wearing a repeat costume, but it's because we're doing a number together. But it's fully sewn. That costume alone's worth $750. So, you know, I'm gonna wear it. But you know, I try to give these people that come to see these shows an experience. You know, I try to give them something brand new every single time, and a brand new thing to go and talk to their friends about, or to go home and share with someone who's sick or sad or couldn't come, because it's important. That's an important part of, you know, this whole, you know, era of drag, because we are the ones that are, it's like we're the front line. We're the ones that we get the first impression. We give the first impression of how they want to feel about our culture and about, you know, gayness and about, you know, LGBT community. We give that first impression, and I'm so honored that I get to be a part of that. And, you know, I'm so honored that along my journey, you know, that I've ran into people like Adriana. Like, she's a 3-time national title holder. She travels all over the country. She does everything. Like, she's booked in Pensacola in like a couple months. You know, she is everywhere. Travels to Atlanta and to all these places, Chicago, and, you know, and I've worked something wrong? Oh, shut up, girl. But you know, I'm just, you know, that's the girl that I looked up to when I was in 2016, when I moved to Cincinnati and started doing this stuff for real. Like, she was one of the first girls that I was like, oh my God. You know, and at the time, she was you know, she was a thicker woman, and she was just beautiful, and just, I was so inspired and influenced by who she was as an entertainer. And, you know, when I started, people was like, oh my God, like, you're shaped like Adriana Fuentes. And so I was like, okay, who is that? So once I started looking her up, I started following her, and I was obsessed, and have been obsessed ever since.
Nichelle had approached us when we were at another venue 3 years ago.
Yes.
And wanted to have another drag show. They had one at the old base inn. And looking for a place that would welcome them. I was all about it. Well, the venue that we were at that point in time wasn't real happy about it. So we found, we knew of this place here, the old Night Moves building, before we had taken over it. And we had called, and Jeff was gracious enough to let us use this place. So I called her back and said, guess what? And she was ecstatic. I said, I found a place even 5 times bigger than what we was going to use. And she was like, nah. So I sent her pictures. She said, okay. If anybody knows Nichelle's all about, that's what's up. I got it.
We were supposed to do a show that Halloween, and well, the owner of that bar canceled it. He said he tried to have somebody, some like Halloween contest or something, because he didn't want the gays in his bar, and or something. You know, I never spoke to the man in person, but apparently that's what I heard. So I said, Hope, let's go do something. Find a bar. Girl, find a bar. So she found this bar. She finally talked the man into leasing it, buying it. I have no idea what the tea is. However, she finally talked the man into getting this bar. And so, you know what, when we planned our show? Halloween night. So we had, I think we was at capacity all night long. People lined out the door all night long. Standing room only. And it was so full in here. It was the best blessing. So I had my boyfriend at the time ride down by the bar, and it was empty. Karma is a bitch. But, you know, and I'm pretty sure that the bar owner is family of mine. So, you know, I don't ever give ill will to anybody, because I can't force you to like me. But, you know, something that I do expect out of anybody that comes into my life is respect. You will respect me regardless if I have to force you to do it, or if you're just going to openly do it, because it's much easier if you just openly do it. But if I have to, I'm the type of girl, I will go every single car in a parking lot and put a flyer. Especially, I'm that driven. I'm that type of person. So, and that's what we did. We just advertised our butt off, and, and now it's at the point where I make all the flyers for this event. So, I'll make the flyer and I'll post it, like the one that we posted today, or, for this show. I think that within an hour, it had 36 shares. That many people get so excited about this, because it's like, we're still considered, and it's crazy because it's 2022, but we're still considered taboo here. We're still considered, the outcast, or, whatever it is. But it's like, but the amount of love that I would say like a good 90% of our audience is straight people. Because it's like, the gay community, I feel like is, and just the LGBTQIA community, it's so fit plus. I think that's the proper term now. But it's so filled with like Drag Race and all of these pop icons, and everywhere's gay. So, which I love, but they don't see the actual girls that are out here working.
I could do drag for 2 lifetimes. I would never use all these ideas I've saved. But yet I keep adding to them.
All right, if you got a drink, put it in the air. If you got a drink, put it in the air. All right, we're going to do a cheers. Are y'all ready for a toast? If you got a drink, put it in the air. If the ocean were bare and I was a duck, I would swim to the bottom and never come up. But the ocean's not bare and I'm not a duck, so let's take these shots and get fucked up! There's a place where we can go tonight. The rhythm will make it right. Where everyone is happy and
growing up here, probably not. I mean, it's getting a little bit more progressive, which is pretty awesome. It's getting a lot more accepting in a lot of different areas, which is amazing. So for something like this to come here and the turnout that we're getting and the reaction that we're getting from the people is awesome. It's awesome.
I've watched RuPaul all my life, and I just love it, and I support it so much. I mean, I am jealous of their makeup and their outfits, but other than that, I love it. And I just want to see more of it. I just want to be around it more, support it more as much as I can. And, I'm a mom, I have one son, and if he does it, I'm going to support him. I love it.
My bestie, and just like we're having fun, and nothing happens here, so things like this we have to come and support.
I'm entertaining, unlike Adriana, so like I can.
I'm sorry, there can only be a few pretty ones of us out there.
Well, baby, I got this too.
Oh, do you?
Ma'am.
I mean, you can only be pretty or entertaining. You cannot be both.
Baby, look at me.
You just claim entertaining.
Baby. Okay. Hey, I'm fine with that. As long as I get to collect a check.
Baby, me too.
Okay. So I'm going in May to compete. So I'm Miss Gay Ohio, United States at large. I'm going to nationals in May, third weekend of May. It's a 4-day pageant, and I think I have right now, as it speaks, 25 girls that I'm competing against. But I'm prepping really hard. I've worked 7 days a week, every single day since October. 6 to 7 days. You know, every now and again I can't get a gig on Sunday, which is whatever, but I've always done something to make money. Rhinestone for somebody something. I've invested, I think after I buy this next thing, I'll have spent $10,400. And it's all been earned myself. I literally have dedicated my entire life to this pageant because ever since my grandma put me in my first pageant, this is all I know. But this is what I know I'm good at. It has lit a whole new fire under me because I know I can do anything now.
I mean, we've come a long way, but we still got a ways to go.
Same story, different era.
There you go. Yeah. That's the best way to put it.
Growing up in Maysville, honestly, it was really beautiful for me. And I know a lot of people can't relate to that, but I think it was because I was so adaptive.
I feel like my experience here is different than anybody else I've ever known. I've never seen as much love shown for a gay person like me in this area, except for with me.
I had to get out of Maysville because at that time there wasn't the acceptance that I needed, and everybody knew me as my dead name, and I just couldn't. I said, I'll come in for my special events and see my family, but that's about it. I can't live here no more. And, you know, my grandpa passed in October. And if it had not been for a conversation I had with him, I would have never moved. Because my mom, I couldn't leave my mom, and I couldn't leave. God, I'm getting emotional. I'm sorry. But I sat down with him and I said, I got to get out of here. And he said, you know, and my grandpa, he was the most loving. No one ever could have a bad thing to say about him because he was so open and just loving, and everybody had like a place to go with him, and he just wanted to listen to you. So he told me, he said, you know, T-Tom, because that was his nickname for me, he said, you know, we're always going to be there. You've got to live your life.
You know, I think to truly grow into the person you're supposed to be, you have to get out of here, experience life, discover who you are, love yourself above anything, and then come back. And you have a completely different outlook on this town.
There's nothing inappropriate. We're not trying to train or to groom or whatever the term is they want to use.
Yeah.
It's acceptance. It's acceptance. And if you're 7 or 8 or 5 and you can start being taught that you can accept people for who they are, think how much better these kids are going to be in high school and how much better they're going to be in college. Better human beings because they're not worried about race or gender.
Even if it's not them going through it though.
Yeah.
They
might be able to someone else who is going to.
From the start, it was like I got what every gay kid wished they could have. That support, that family, you know. And sure, people struggle. You know, when I came out as transgender, like, of course my family struggles because I only see them probably 5 or 6 times a year. Maybe, if they're lucky. Most times it's only Thanksgiving and Christmas that I see them, or maybe Easter. Yeah. So, you know, I got very lucky.
Because I work on cars, I deal with a lot of straight men. That's just naturally usually who works on vehicles. So being around all of them and like having to be in their garages and just seeing how they include me into their lives, it makes me feel very good about this area. I think that it's come a long ways because I have heard stories of the past and how it wasn't a necessarily welcoming community, but I never had that experience. I've always felt very welcomed and very at home around here.
I didn't move away and create a new person. I've just created myself. I never, if somebody said, where are you from? I'm from Maysville, Kentucky. Where did you go to school? I went to Mason County. What year did you graduate? 1979. Well, you know, there were situations in my own business where somebody said, oh, do you know so-and-so? Yes, I know so-and-so. I was friends with his sister. I knew his mother, blah, blah, blah. And then the next time they would come in, so I heard, and it's funny how when you're gay or trans or whatever, people always think it's acceptable that they can just ask you personal questions, where if you are just a heterosexual, you just go to work and no one asks you personal questions about your life.
I don't have the option to birth a kid. I didn't have that journey. I didn't have the journey of, you know, finding love at 21. And some days I like a lot of nights I cry because I want that so bad. I just want somebody to love me so bad. But I'm a firm believer that, you know, until you fully love who you are, you'll never find somebody that loves you. You'll never be able to keep something fully committed because there's something in you that's missing. And, you know, I'm honestly, like, I can say today, I love every bit of who I am.
Well, I mean, I wanted to be an entertainer, and I didn't want to be an entertainer where I took it off when I got home. You know what I mean? And the weird thing is that after I did this, it was just never anything. I never sang and performed and did shows. It was just, wow, I really just did what I needed to do for myself, and everything else just kind of falls into place.
I'm just grateful for the journey that, you know, this small town gave me. And I'm just grateful that, you know, God, or, you know, who we all believe in different things, but, you know, I'm grateful for the journey I was given. And I'm grateful for everything, every single bad thing that ever happened, every single good thing, every tear I ever cried, every laugh I've ever had, every moment that I've ever gotten to share with someone, good, bad, in the middle, whatever. I'm so grateful because I would not be who I am today without those things.
Yeah, there's many times we work in the door, and I'd say, well, I just came in for a burger. Oh, go up to the bar, get you a seat. I tell you what, no cover. At any point you're ready to leave, just shake my hand on the way out and come back later. And you look up and they're the last ones leaving. Because they became open enough to just say, oh, guess what? Nobody tried to do anything inappropriate to me. Oh, wow, they're not here to do those things. You know, and sometimes, and especially as a heterosexual male, I think the mindset is you don't know, so you don't know what to expect. You know, and I've had guys that come in here with their wives and they're like, I'm bringing my buddy back next time.
It's more unsettling to come back because people think you're throwing something in their face if you're sitting in their restaurant or you're sitting in there, you know, and they don't like you or who you are. You're interfering with their time. I see it. I mean, I'm not stupid. You know, I know how people respond to some things that I post, that I know that I'm going to get that same response to you if I see you. Vice versa, with people know who I'm going to get that same response when I see them. So it's okay. It works both ways. And it doesn't make me feel uncomfortable. It actually gives me power because I'm allowed to be here.
I don't want people to think that this place is like full of hatred or anything like that, because out of everywhere I've ever been, this is the place that's shown me the most love. This is like home to me. These people, they've always had my back through thick and thin, and I have not been one to live a peaceful life. I've made so many mistakes, been rowdy as can be, but even through all those mistakes and everything that I've put everyone that I know through, everybody has always been there to just pick you right back up off the ground and just keep you moving. It's a great feeling. I love this little area.
Because there's a lot of people in this town who are like to eat off both sides of the buffet. Let's put it that way. But they're not out about it. So people who are out and proud like me or Nichelle, they frown upon us because of what we do, because we do what they wish they could do. And that's sad. Live your most authentic life. Because what point is living a life if you're not happy and out in who you are and love who you are? Why waste your time, is my opinion. Teresa, I figure throw some glitter at people and have a grand time. I love throwing glitter. It's great.
We're so uniquely individual because all of our stories are different. And, you know, there's a million people in the world that have I married my high school sweetheart. We have a white picket fence, 4 kids, 2 golden retrievers, a camper, and a diesel truck. But how many people in this lifetime can say that, you know, I had a seat at every table. I've worked in like 10 states, everywhere from, you know, north to south, basically. You know, I've done a million things in this lifetime, and I'm just getting started, and I'm 26 today. I've done a million things. I've done more stuff in 26 years than most people do in their lifetime because they're afraid to break a mold or to break a box. And my point is, like, life's more fun outside the box. Create your own box.
I jokingly have said, where's Maysville's Pride Parade? Portsmouth had one.
I would like to put together some sort of pride event in Maysville for next year. I don't know to what scale I'm thinking, but just, I mean, you know, they just put the American flags up on all the poles for Flag Day and all that. Just for the first year, take Market Street, put pride flags up on all those poles. And then the next year, maybe do 2nd Street. And the year after that, do 3rd Street. I think this town needs it. Bad.
One of our advocates is on the Human Rights Commission, I believe it is, and she attends those meetings monthly, and she had asked about if Maysville was having a Pride event. I don't think that they were able to get that together this year, but you know, we'd love to be involved if they do, because, you know, we celebrate all people. So.
But I have noticed this year there's a business in town. They have a pride flag out. There was a patio area.
Oh, which was it?
Crowbar on Market Street, yes.
Okay.
The flag came up missing. Well, these redneck idiots stole it. So what better way to do? Go buy another and put it up there. So then my pride flag came out. And then my neighbors who were straight, they have their pride flag out. There were more pride flags this year in this town than I've ever seen. And I'm so excited.
It just takes a couple people. And if we can help with our part of the change here. They're so personal about Maysville. They're so pretty places.
So, as far as I know, Free Mom Hugs is working with, I'm thinking, the city of Maysville, and I think that Rita's mom is really kind of the head of that. And, as, you know, along with myself, you know, I'm always on board to do that. because gay youth in Maysville needs a place to stand. They need a place to call home. They need some type of, guidance, because they really don't have a lot of guidance here because it's so taboo still.
In this world, you're not gonna live a life where somebody doesn't make you uncomfortable. It's just the way of life. You're not gonna get along with every person you ever meet.
What this next generation has is power. They have a power that I never had. They had a power that the people before me at Stonewall didn't have. They had a power that so many didn't have. But they have to use it for good. And they have to use it for love of each other. And they have to use it for love and acceptance of each other. And move it forward to a point where you don't have to have a pride parade because we're all treated equal. You don't have to wave a flag in the month of June because everybody just accepts. You don't have to worry about getting married and going to a baker and have them not want to do your cake because you're queer. You don't have to worry about walking in a place and you hold hands with your partner and somebody wants you to leave their establishment any more than you're in an interracial relationship or anything else. And that, if this generation does not continue the fight, and we don't continue the fight as their elders, we're gonna go back. Everybody's gonna go back.
If you sit there and turn around and cuss them or scream at them, you're not answering their questions. And then they're gonna turn around and ask them same questions to somebody else and maybe offend them. When in reality, what you could do is just say, hey, I know you don't really understand, and I'm more than happy to explain to you. But I do want you to know that if you ask somebody something like that, there's a more proper way to address it so that nobody gets offended. That way, right off the bat, you've already explained to them, if you ask somebody else this question, this is how you ask it. So that you've deaded that issue right there. Nobody else will be offended by the question. And then you answer the questions that they do have, and then they're more comfortable, because they understand more about who you are as a person.
I would love to give them a place to call home. A place just to make them feel safe and make them feel celebrated and to make them feel worthy and, like they don't have to hide.
Because unless you're in a certain, this clique or that clique, things in this town tend to get shot down before they get off the ground. So if this clique and this clique come together with this Outcaster clique, they can make great things happen. But I don't know if that would happen. But it needs to. They just need to open their minds more and realize this is not 1932. We've come a long way, but we just need unity between people.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring on your cast for the night. Make some noise. Come on now. You have one more time. Cheers! See, wasn't that damn hard.
from the Jews, 4 badass chicks from the Bulldog Week. Hey, sisters, soul sisters, better get that dough, sisters. Drink wine with diamonds in the glass by the case, the meaning of expensive taste. I'm on the chocolate. What do you little mama? One more time, come on.
What's your story? What's your sign? It's like we're twin flames in a different life. Deep connection lights a spark. It's like you know me in the depths of my heart. We're dreamers. Don't care what other people say. We're living like this could be our final day. We're dreamers. Don't care what the others say. We're doing this in our own way. We come alive in the nighttime. It's something about how we dance in the moonlight. That look in your eyes, it tells me that you want me and all my loving. We come alive in the nighttime. You and I, we come alive. We come alive. We come alive. What's your weakness? What's your type? Somehow I wanna know all about you. Deep connection lights a spark. You already know me when we dance in the dark. We're dreamers. We're living. We're dreamers. We're doing this in our own way. We come alive in the nighttime. It's something about how we dance in the moonlight. That look in your eyes, it tells me that you want me and We come alive.